Hello, everyone, and welcome back to RJLGG, where we have got the Black Swan versus the Wall over on Cough Bagel. It should be a very amazing game here tonight. Very large implications for playoffs as well. The Black Swan just on the cusp of playoffs at the moment. Global Clan hot on their heels. My name's T. Semano. I am joined by the amazing Unicorn Wizard Uni, and we've also got Dolphin, as always, on production. Uni, how you doing tonight, and are you excited about this match? Good news, as we already said, it will not, hopefully, be going, like 2.5 hours?
Yeah, no, you can have a Koth map go over an hour, but it's going to be constant, right? Like, you're going to constantly have fights, there's going to be constantly stuff happening, as opposed to the last match you and I casted, where that didn't happen. So it should be a good time, especially because these are both, top invite teams. They both have very good DM on every class. You're going to see a lot of really good fights, good plays. It's going to be exciting.
It is going to be very, very exciting. And as you mentioned last time here on RGL, we did cover one of these teams. It was Black Swan and their very, very narrow loss against the Chuds 4-3 on Snakewater. So if you were with us for that match, you might be already familiar with them. But if you didn't see it, it was Exile, Darty, going to be the two scouts. Tripwire and Quacks are going to be the soldiers. Ether are going to be on Demo Man. And then Foxy is going to be their medic. So as we kind of already pointed out, a lot of very well-known names on all of those classes who have a lot of invite experience. Probably Darty and Foxy just the newest in terms of invite, in terms of just time, but Darty's already played on quite a few invite teams, and then same thing for Foxy, even though I think this is their first Sixes invite team. She's already kind of been very well known within Highlander, so already has a lot of experience at a high level of play. But then if you want to run down the wall, that's kind of not to say that the names on Black Swan aren't very well known, but you would definitely know the majority of the names on the wall.
Yeah, so on the wall, the scouts, you got Soar coming up from Advanced from last season in Sandblast. Soldier, you got Dingo and Sai, Demo, Sin Karma, and Medic, Hubert the Fish. So a little bit of mix of players that people have seen at the top level of invite, and some players that people might not know, but have definitely been around for a long time and are definitely very good. And that, it speaks to them being 7-1.
Yeah, they are 7-1. The only loss is to, of course, Froyotech, who are undefeated. But the wall not too far behind, like you said, 7-1, and then Black Swan sitting at 6-3. So definitely if they're able to win this one and what would be considered an upset, it would be very good for their playoffs aspirations. It'd be kind of probably seal the deal, assuming that they're able to repeat all the performances that they did previously in the first part of the season. So definitely a good win for them, and if not, just getting some rounds, helping that percentage of rounds won, or if it comes down to a head-to-head, anything that helps them get into playoffs, which they should be good for, but every win helps out.
Yeah, and I was just looking at that right now. It does kind of depend, right? Because it's going to be either Black Swan or Global Clan in that last spot, realistically, unless, Anglerfish can go on a massive run and Black Swan don't win too many more matches. So realistically, it's one of those two. Both Black Swan and Global Clan have a match technically still against G6, but G6 is dead, so they both get that win, right? So the amount stays the same. They're still 2 wins in between them. Black Swan actually has a little bit of a harder schedule going forward after this. They're playing the Wall, they have the Froyotech match, and they have the Chuds. They have every team that they have left to play other than Global Clan and the forfeit versus G6 is technically above them. Whereas with Global Clan, it's similar, but they have a little bit of an easier schedule. They're going to be playing the Chuds, the Wall, and Anglerfish, again, as well as that Black Swan match. So depending on how this match, like you said, specifically shakes out, it could lock in playoffs, or it could make things very interesting. So, yeah, if a Black Swan win here, I think mathematically almost guarantees them playoffs, if not gets them very close to it. A loss, it could get interesting in the last week or so.
Yeah, it really could. And just to speak on Global Clan, like you said, you might say, well, can Global Clan get an upset over any of those guys? They almost got one against the Wall. We didn't cover that match, but speaking of Snakewater, it was 1-2. The Wall just barely winning that one. So Global Clan definitely have that potential, when they're at their best and maybe one of the other teams are, not playing as optimally, they can definitely take advantage of that and try and eke out a win. So completely possible for Global Clan to try and get their way into playoffs. It is not all over yet, but a win here tonight for Black Swan, as we've said, would be very, very good and kind of probably seal the deal for them. But speaking of that, it's going to be on a bagel where this match is, and very different from what we've seen so far in this season. I want to say this is maybe one of the first KOF maps that we've seen. Obviously, King of the Hill is always going to play different than 5CP, but just in terms of King of the Hill maps, Bagel is a little bit unique. It's not off-class heaven like Product is. Product, you just get your sniper up, and if they're good and they hit every shot, it can just be so hard to do anything against it. Bagel, there's not as many sight lines, so you don't see too many sniper off classes or really any type of off classes as well. On Clear Cut, maybe you'll see like a heavier and NG, but you don't really see anything like that here on Bagel. It's kind of open. It allows every class to thrive. I really like it. It's one of my favorite in the maps, and it's also got a very, very fast capture point. That thing caps up in almost a blink of an eye, so it can be very difficult to try and hold on to it for an extended amount of time.
Yeah, and I just think it really lends itself to just constant action, just the way the map is set up. You don't get those stalemates where one team has a sniper, is just kind of holding back. Because that point is so easy to cap, you do have to constantly pressure on the defensive side. And then you have both these houses, which make it pretty easy to get in to the flank or get immediately onto the team that has to be holding, again, a little bit more aggressively because of that fast cap time. So you usually don't get stalemates. What you might end up seeing, if one team is just struggling or one team is just better than the others, you see the forward hold being really hard to break. But even then, you usually have to commit both soldiers to one side, and then on the other side, they can just run through, clear the sticks. So it's a harder forward hold than something like Product, which lends itself to more fluid matches and fights.
Yeah, it is a lot harder to try and forward hold than Product, but we'll have to see if maybe anyone tries to do something like that, or if we do have any off classes, even if it's not the best for it. Darty are kind of whipping out the heavy in the pregame. But Uni, I do want to ask you for a prediction, because I'm just going to say I think that the Wall are going to take it. I think, they've got the experience, they've got the DM, not to say that Black Swan don't, but I think that if it just comes down to straight, 6v6 team fight after team fight after team fight, which sometimes we can see on Bagel, as you kind of hinted at, it just lends itself to those kind of great epic mid fights over and over again. I think that the Wall, unless, Black Swan kind of come in with a really set game plan and set way they want to try and initiate or counter whatever the Wall does, I think the Wall will probably take it. I'll say 4-2.
Yeah, 4-2 sounds about right. It's, at the end of the day, you're right. It is Koth. It is very DM heavy. Obviously, having a plan makes it a lot better for your chances, but you're going to see a lot more DM. You're going to see a lot more teams getting, whatever team can get the most out of their flanks and, individual plays usually gets a lot more on Koth. And just, that's going to be the Wall as far as individual performance, at least in my opinion. I don't think it's a huge gap, right? I don't think these players are way, better than their counterparts, but I think it's just enough to the point where 4-2 sounds about right. It could definitely be different, right? Bagel, I think, is actually one of the bigger upset-minded maps right now. Anglerfish and Black Swan, actually, I think like last week or whenever, had a really close 4-3 match on it, whereas normally on 5CP it might not be that close. So you might, upset-minded, you might see something a little special, but yeah, 4-2 is my guess, my bet as well.
Yeah, and to speak on the upset thing, it's kind of a Koth staple, and I just think historically, kind of the Ford Gaming, Sandblast, Psy, whatever roster they've got going on at the moment, haven't really historically been fan favorites of King of the Hill. So it's kind of interesting to see them play it tonight. I don't think it really kind of just goes with their natural play style, but with Dingo up on Soldier, he's been someone who's been very willing to, get aggressive, be the initiator, and with Soar as well, I think it should be a very huge boon for the wall. But we're going to have to see how it all plays out as we are going to be going live on the very first mid-fight. It is the wall versus Black Swan, trying to fight out to lock in their playoffs position here, as just going to be watching Ether on his rollout, just going to be shooting some stickies across the point. No one going to be going for any type of immediate bomb and immediate initiation. It's kind of a bit more common that you see teams just, you know, scope each other out, try and figure out maybe if there's a weakness, some way they can either get in behind, or if they do just want to try and commit onto the medic with a double bomb. No one's made that move, but now Tripwire is going to go in, lands one rocket, is going to get the kill onto Hubert. That's going to be a really great opening, is managing to stay alive, finds another onto Sandblast. Quacks also in the back lines, gets one onto Sin Karma, and that is going to be the first mid-1 for Black Swan.
Yeah, although they are going to cap. No, they're not even going to cap. Okay, there it is. So they actually screwed themselves up a little bit. They're messing with the spawns. That was really well played by Black Swan. They had an exact idea of what they want to do. As this fight, you know, I'll continue in a second. As this fight keeps going, good damage onto the Ether. But
really?
Are we just... Go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, they are just trying to sneak that point out, which is something you can do, but now the Uber is going to come out bombing in so deep, trying to get onto Hubert, not going to be able to live that one. Quacks is going to get that pick. Now, can they keep Foxy alive, who's over in-house, is getting juked around, and now Dingo with the rockets finds it. It's a complete collapse over in the right house. Now it is going to be the two scouts, Sandblast and Soar, trying to fight against Darty in the 1v1 with Soar. Might be able to win that, but now Sandblast peels off and gets him. Really great play by the two scouts there, and they've been able to recapture up the point.
Okay, so what I was going to say, the Black Swan had a really good idea. So neither team really wants to play aggressive on Bagel mid. It doesn't really lend, you know, it's not a good idea early on. You don't really want to do anything until that point opens up. And all they did, they got their scout onto the point, they edged it, and then as soon as the wall pressed forward to try to get those players off the point, both soldiers bombed in, and it works really well. You know, that DM fight at the end of it after that Uber just didn't work out for him.
Now we are going to see if Black Swan can try and get back onto the point. Uber's roughly about even, a little bit of advantage in the favor of the wall, but probably not enough for them to work off of it. Except, actually, no, Sandblast is going to try and do something with it. Foxy, super weak. Is going to be able to surf out to safety just barely. That's going to be a very deep chase by the wall. Are they going to get punished for it? I don't think so. Foxy is so far back, just trying to stay alive. But now, here comes the Uber. Are they going to be able to clean up on all these weak wall players? They're trying to jump out. They find one on Sin Karma and Dingo. Hubert should be able to get out alive. Sai is over on the other side of the map, might be able to sneak out to safety. So a kind of good counter Uber from Black Swan. They've been able to get a couple, get control of the point now. However, Ubers are going to be in the favor of the wall.
Yeah, so realistically, Black Swan maybe should get like 20-30 seconds off before this Uber happens total. But they are edging it really fast. I mean, there's... Oh, Darty goes away. Dingo and Side Guy are dead. All of a sudden, this flanks are massive. Sin Karma's dead as well. Everyone's just in.
Oh my god, and Hubert just trying to live. Really great initiation from the flank, like you said, of Black Swan. They were able to get through that left house from their perspective, basically undetected, had a good bomb onto Hubert, disconnected him from everyone else and got sent back. So now it is actually going to be even Ubers because of that play. Hubert not able to heal anyone, but now they're going to try and bust out an ambitious air shot. Not going to be able to connect side, taken down, trades out with Exile. And they've managed to bust through from this forward hold and get a couple picks. Quacks in the back lines, might trade out with Sword, is going to get run down, shot down, but Sin Karma dies.
Pick on Sin Karma.
Yeah, and the Uber actually is going to be exchanged across the point. A lot more space gained for the wall. The Black Swan just kind of pushed all the way back into the lobby.
Yeah, we're just going to see the reset. Quacks is a little bit later on his spawn, so you're not going to see too much of a fight yet, although actually Tripwire is getting pretty aggressive. Early on, Black Swan are doing a lot better with these set plays. They know, like, all going in as a team, getting the wipes, but like I said, and they're all dead.
They are completely all dead, and that is kind of the worry when you're going up against players like that. But Tripwire also has a play up her sleeve, and that's going to be a dead Hubert. Really great rockets right there, and also to stay alive, just causing more chaos. Now Sandblast does find one onto Ether, finds another onto Tripwire, so going to be able to get a few picks of his own on a casual 5k, but the damage already done, equalizing the medic situation. But now they're going to have to wait, get all of their respawns respawners up and try and take another potentially dry fight over to the wall.
Yeah, this should be a dry fight, unless they want to just wait for Uber, which teams very rarely do, especially in this situation. Although, okay, Sandblast just runs down. Sandblast is just in. All right, he's dead. Dingo, huge bomb onto the flank. Teams, they're just trading players one by one. Dingo is behind, fighting Exile. Neither of them are gonna die. So the longer this goes, the better it benefits the wall. Oh, are we paused?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we're paused. Right.
We are indeed paused.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was favoring the wall. They were just able to kind of constantly take trades and just kind of slow Black Swan down a little bit, because they were just, I guess, a bit hesitant to try and push in, and they just wanted to make sure that they got all those players who, uncontested, would have gotten in behind. So just slowing them down, making sure they were able to bleed as much time off the clock as possible. It would have eventually kind of bit them because they were having the longer respawns, but for as long as they were able to get in and get those trades, it was able to, buy some time off the clock for them. I think they had maybe 30 seconds left before the pause happened. I don't really quite remember.
It was 22.
22, okay.
I believe.
No, I believe you. So enough time for Black Swan to, get their Uber and get onto the point, ideally without having to use. But then they've got to essentially hold a minute almost perfectly, which can be very hard to do.
Yeah, they probably honestly are going to have to play pretty aggressive because, like I was kind of mentioning earlier, holding the point on Bagel is pretty hard without having to play pretty aggressive. So they might just, I don't know, take an Uber in, hope they kill Hubert, and then forward hold. They are unpaused.
Ooh, yes. They are unpaused. Sin Karma, very weak, is going to get blasted back, and that's going to be enough for them to get some point control as a big bomb coming in from one of his soldiers. Just going to be a fadeaway bomb. Soars super high in the sky as well, gets launched over towards the pack. But now the question is, are they going to try and use this Uber aggressively to get onto Hubert, or are they just going to try and take this Uber exchange?
I would hope they take it aggressively to get into Hubert, but it's just going down and down. Hubert gets Hubert. The Uber does come out. No, Hubert has those, so they should be fine. Dingo and Quack's trade. Trip is going to get taken down in the backlines, and this is really bad for Black Swan. They do take down Sandblast, which makes this Uber a lot worse. Saiga gets traded down by Darty. Now all of a sudden, it's a 3-man Uber. Foxy is just going to do their best to live. Ether's going to get run down with a scout. Nope, Sora's dead. So this is just, it's crazy DM. They need to keep Hubert alive if they want any chance in this, which it looks like they will be able to. Black Swan are not going to have any heals for this entire fight. If the wall can just get heals and fight this well, they should be fine.
Oh, this is so close. They want to get onto the point. They only have 6 seconds to do so, but they don't have any heals, so they're going to have to commit right now. A few weak players on the wall going to be bombing in. Dingo doing a lot of damage wrapping around, but everyone else on Black Swan is on top of the point. That's going to be a soldier in the sky. It was Sai gets traded out for Darty. They don't have anyone on the point, so they're going to lose it, making it 1-0 in the favor of the wall.
Yeah, that's just the heal advantage. And I don't think it was a tech, actually. No, it was a pause play. Oh, it was tactical? Oh, okay. Well, regardless, yeah, that's incredibly close. It's just what heals can do. So let's see if the same mid happens. Last mid, both teams just kind of played passive, and then everyone on Black Swan walked forward and destroyed the wall. Let's see if something similar happens again, or if the wall have a plan to mitigate that.
We'll have to see because, like you said, Black Swan had some really great plans. But yeah, the wall going for that tactical pause, maybe just trying to see if they can nip that in the bud early before they actually do lose a round to Black Swan. And Ether going down to Sin Karma with a nice pipe. Really great job. Exile as well, super duper weak. So Foxy gonna have to back up, disconnected from anyone else on her team. And that is gonna be a very good clean mid win for the wall.
Yeah, Demo's such a big impact on Koth, especially Bagel. Demo first person to die, you're probably losing that mid. They aren't forward holding though. They're playing this pretty passive, so I'm assuming they're just gonna play it passive and make Black Swan take this super aggressively into them before they, use back into them.
we're gonna have to see, as I said, both teams do have Uber, and it's going to be a very early use from Black Swan. Foxy going down very weak there, had to use just to save her life. They do get the counterforce out from the wall, so it's not all bad, but they didn't really get any space with it. Now they can try and just take this as a dry fight, maybe just try and sack some players in, take some space, bomb in, and it actually gonna be a scuffle over in the right house. Tripwire gonna lose her life to size rockets, and now they're gonna be at the back foot. They can just try and wait for all their players to get up, but that's just gonna be more time bleeding off the clock into favor of the wall. But it's gonna be Dingo, the one to get aggressive over with Psy. Now gonna be wrapping in behind, and it might be a little bit of a pincer play for the wall.
Bomb. Takes down Hubert. Yup. Really good bomb taking down Hubert. So actually, let's let this settle for a second before we
Of course, it was always action as Sin Karma wants to try and make more bombing in to see if you can maybe get onto Foxy. Not going to be able to do it. Exile, not as lucky, is going to go down there. Sandblast just running around the point. The wall recapturing up the point while everyone on Black Swan just had to try and bunker up and protect Foxy. They're able to do it, so they're going to be able to get onto the point, and they also have a massive Uber advantage.
Soldiers in the skybox, knocked in. They're all going across. Psy's taking a bunch of damage. Psy and Dingo both dead. No one has died. Ether is going to get cleaned up. Sandblast should die here. That is a 3-for-1. They get Ether, but they don't get the Force, so that's not really worth it. Good on Black Swan to hold off on it. You should be able to forward hold, but it doesn't seem like they want to, especially with how aggressive Sin Karma and Soar are playing. Actually, Trip is in. No, there's the forward hold. Wow.
Yeah, did a lot of damage to Sin Karma, but not able to get the kill there. So they are just going to be playing kind of behind the point now. Uber's not quite up for the wall. They have 80%, and if you are a Hubert, you just want to play very far behind, make sure that you don't get bombed and just get denied that chance of taking an Uber in. And now they should have. So the question is, how do the wall want to try and play this? Are they going to try and go for an Uber exchange, or maybe just sack in, get that force out, and then respond with their own? Going to be trying to get some time on the point, but Sandblast, he just wants to walk in, does a lot of damage onto Ether, forces it out, a lot of flashing on both teams actually, and Foxy, kind of the furthest one forward on her team, is going to have to back up, and so once again, it's going to be an Uber exchange, no one dying in the Uber. It's going to be a dry fight over on the right-hand side. Exile, Quacks both going down over in the houses. Darty as well, a complete collapse from the flank of Black Swan, and the wall going to be able to walk onto that point for free.
They just found themselves in not a perfect situation. They had, I think it was Quacks going kind of behind on a flank while everyone else on their team was sitting up on the little slope leading up to the point. They took so much spam from the soldiers in the house. Like, they were at a huge disadvantage immediately, and they just weren't able to surmount that. But it is even Ubers. This is a forward hold we were talking about, and this is what I was saying. The soldiers can just get immediately. Exile actually taking that super deep. Sin Karma hurt. And they do get out pretty cleanly. As I say that, actually, Ether might be dead. No, Saiga and Quacks trade. No one else is dead yet. Exile really wants his kill onto the soldier, but neither of them die. We're just going to see a little bit of a reset. Darty ran through the side house, actually took down Dingo. Darty's now all the way behind. They're going to need to put eyes on him. The Uber trade comes out. It is a little bit better for the wall because it's a scout solo.
It is a little bit better, and Black Swan do have a bit of point presses. Oh my god, Sin Karma gets taken down by Tripwire. Sandblast, though, in a 1v1 is not going to be able to win that one. Exile coming in to help out his scout partner. Psy also going to be taken down. Just everyone trying to bomb in to get onto Foxy, but no one can leave a mark. Foxy going to be able to get through that one unscathed, and they are going to be able to continue on with their control of the point and with Uber advantage. A minute left for them, 40 seconds left for the wall. By the time the wall gets their Uber, it might be even in terms of time.
Yeah, it is going to be even in terms of time. They are getting through this right side. Actually, they're playing this really aggressive. I like this. They might know that Foxy doesn't have... You're trying to get a force, if nothing else, on the wall. Look how far back Hubert is playing. They know they want the force. But that trip and side trade makes it really hard to get anything really big out of a force. You're kind of just hoping your solo going in. Okay, Foxy does... Yeah. Foxy got... That was a little bit of a... Yeah. That might have been a fear pop, or they might have been planning on going in aggressively anyways. I'm not exactly sure, but now they're at full Uber descent. They do have the point, though. They have time, so you need to try to get a force on Hubert here. You need to make them use this Uber to get the point.
We have to see if Black Swan are going to be able to execute it, as that's going to be
They're
a
down
bomb
two.
coming in. Hits a rocket on to Hubert. Nice surf to stay alive. Gets the pack, so should be able to stay alive for just a little bit longer in case anyone flies over their way. Nice sticky trap by Ether. Gets on the Dingo, but Darty runs in from
my
behind.
God.
Gets the force. Takes Hubert down so low. And now they're going to be able to clean him up, so they're going to be able to retreat to safety if they need to. They capture up the point. Only 25 seconds left, and they're going to have the longer respawners. Everyone else on
Look at
Black Swan.
Sandblast. Look at Sandblast.
Oh, trying to go for the flank. Does a lot of damage. Finds one on the tripwire. Can anyone clean up Sandblast in the nick of time? They do. Darty finds that one, and not going to be there for the fight.
Yeah, Ether took down Sora, but now there's a soldier behind. I don't know if they know that the soldier is behind. Sai is in. The force does come out. They do have cap time. The soldier's going to get cleaned up. Dingo. That should be the round. It is just Sin Karma and Hubert. Sin Karma's a good demo, but I don't know if he's winning a 2v6. Hubert's hit some nice arrows, though.
Yeah, that was a very clutch arrow onto Sin Karma from Hubert there, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to save them the round, making it 1-1. And, you know, for Black Swan, very good. We got a game on our hands.
Yeah, the scouts played a really big role. I mean, Trip and Quacks are doing really well playing off of their team, but Exile and Darty were putting in a lot of work, especially towards the end of that with Darty getting the force and just denying people from their medic. Same mid. Again, like I said, teams don't really go aggressive on Bagel. It doesn't really lend itself to it. So we're just going to see probably maybe good damage, point capped, and then both teams are going to edge it a little bit, jump forward. I don't know. It's okay, so here we go. They're playing forward with the scout. Actually, they're in, Foxy ate a pipe too.
Ooh, and that could mean that it might open things up for the walls. Yeah, Sai does go in. Actually has his back to Foxy. Nice rocket to take down Exile. Luckily for Foxy, Sai was not looking at her. Otherwise, that rocket might have been aimed for them. But Sai just on a killing spree takes down another in Ether and has made so much space, so much room for the wall. They're going to be able to get that point. Still, Foxy didn't die. Neither did Hubert. So it is going to be even Ubers. And it seems like the wall not really trying to forward hold this either.
Yeah, if Black Swan moves now, they could be in a really advantageous spot because Side literally just spawned. It is 5v6 for the next at least 3 or 4 seconds. They're going to get pretty good pressure out. Not anything as far as cap time are concerned, but again, you're going to want to try to make Foxy use... Oh, poor Dingo gets cleaned up. So now there's the force. Quacks might get cleaned up because of it. He does. This is a family Uber, it's looking for both teams. Both teams down a soldier, so this refight is going to be huge. Black Swan have a lot of good cap time. They're trying to not cap until their spawn. It does come in, actually. Sai on the right side, taking good damage. Now we're in the exact opposite spot, although Sandblast running forward, getting a lot of good damage. Nothing crazy yet. Trip beats a direct right house, might get run down.
Ooh, just barely able to stay alive there and do a really great job at kind of defending this point. Soar over to the left side, getting some good damage out onto that scout, and they're going to be able to capture it up, forcing Exile off of it because of it. Now Darty in a 2v1, Exile jumping over to try and help out his scout partner. It's going to be a chaos fight over in the left side, but I think it's going to favor Black Swan just a little bit more, trading it 2-3, so they're going to have the player advantage for the moment, and then they capture up the point as well. It does mean that the wall do get the faster spawners, and Tripwire is going to be delayed there, so maybe a little bit of a misplay.
Yeah, Ether tried to get off the point, wasn't able to in time. It's not going to be incredibly big, especially because it's even Ubers. You're going to see this fight develop over a little bit. Actually, they're going to have to get in aggressive. Exile runs down Sin Karma. That's really good. Exile's taking this so aggressively. The Uber out of the wall isn't able to do a huge amount, especially because of that Sin Karma kill. They are going to get the point back, but the soldiers are in Quacks and Sword trade. Sandblast is dead, Sai's dead. All of a sudden, it's just Hubert and Dingo. Hubert probably is dead. Yep. Really good refight. That Uber out of Exile. So, but yeah, he runs in super deep, takes down Sin Karma, runs behind the other team's combo, forces the Uber to turn around for him, and then bails. So the Wall's Uber literally does nothing. Really well played out of Exile. And now they are getting a forward. They have about 50% ad. They are, what, 40 behind on the time, but as I say, that they're just getting through bottom left because the demo was not there.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big bomb coming in from Sai. Just instantly deletes Exile. A really great opening play for the wall because of they're going to be able to get onto the point, even though, like you said, they are at around about 40% Uber disad. So now they want to try and hold on to it. They want to try and make sure that they force Black Swan to use the Uber to get this point, but they want to make sure that Hubert isn't in position. Now going to bomb in to try and clean up as many players as possible. They do get the force out. They clean up a very important player in Ether, so no demo for Black Swan. Can they find anyone else? They do find one onto Exile and on the Tripwire, just making sure that it's going to take more and more time off the clock for them.
Look where Sin Karma is, by the way.
Oh my god. He was just on his own little adventure, yeah.
All right. So that was the exact opposite of last time. The Uber out of the wall did the exact same thing that Last Black Swan Uber did. They got an early pick with it. They took it really aggressive, which meant that Foxy couldn't do anything. They are getting out. Maybe Foxy is trying their best to getting run down by Sin Karma in Spawn.
Sin Karma's in. Can he hit a pipe? Oh, Exile just coming in the nick of time to defend his medic. Really great stuff there. I love that aggressive play from Sin Karma, just bombing in with no fear, but what is not aggressive is this pause we have out on the field around about maybe 20-ish seconds left for the wall.
So, Black Swan is in a better position as far as Uber and players, so they should theoretically just be able to get this point as long as they don't feed anyone. Quax is behind, and I think Dingo is going for... Actually, both soldiers are kind of behind, or maybe they just commit for Hubert. It's still not the best situation because, like we've kind of talked about, Bagel is a very easy point to go back and forth on. It's easy to cap it for just like 10, 15 seconds at a time. And considering there's only 20 seconds left on the wall, that's something that's easy to do. You know, worst comes to worst, you build an Uber, you take a trade, you force them back. This is a technical. Okay, so we might be here for a second. We might be here for, a while, depending. But... this is going to be a hard round for Black Swan to bring back just because, like, I'm repeating myself, but the nature of Bagel being so back and forth, it's so easy to get those 10, 15 seconds. So you're probably going to see Black Swan playing pretty aggressively. They should, unless Quax and Trip both die right here without getting anything, you should see Black Swan getting the point. They're going to have Uber add, so they'll get some time off it, but yeah. It's not looking the best for him, but it is winnable.
Yeah, it really isn't looking the best. At least for this specific round, it's been very back and forth just in terms of a team fight. And like you said, they kind of set themselves up fairly well a couple times in this round. They had Uber advantage, but it's kind of been, going back and forth in terms of who's been able to get the better of not really the Uber, but usually the post-fight after the Uber has been the one to decide, who's able to get onto the point or who's able to keep control of the point. Really great stuff from the wall, the most recent one. As we are back, Quax does find one onto Dingo in the backlines. Tripwire finds another onto Sandblast, so they should definitely be able to get control of this point. And Darty over, trying to get some knocks, connect some shots onto Hubert. Not going to be able to do so. He's going to barely be able to stay alive at 7 hit points. A what if, but they got to think in the moment right now because they do still have Uber advantage, and the wall are going to be able to try and force out, maybe do a 4-man with the amount of time that they still have on the clock, and then try and recommit, but everyone's just dying on Black Swan. So many have fallen, Tripwire and Ether. Now it's going to be a solo onto Exile, finds one onto Dingo, but that's going to be an Uber used, and now the wall have their own Uber advantage.
Yeah, they don't have Uber yet, so if I'm Black Swan, you need to get aggressive, but they're down 2 players. That's the aggression. They take down side, but Quax immediately traded back. They don't have the point, but Hubert's going to get in like 5 seconds anyways. They're denying the point pretty well. Here's the Uber, and Sandblast is just going to take it forward. It looks like that's what... Actually, no, they just capped the point, so they can just fuse on this point, take it in, deny it. Foxy is going to try to live, not going to happen, and this is looking like a round for the wall.
Yeah, it is looking like a round for the wall. They do have a lot of capture time, but there's really only Quax right there. Hit some nice rockets. Ed's actually going to be able to capture it up just in the nick of time, but unfortunately, he was the only one there, and once he died, that was a very immediate recapture for the wall, making it a 2-1 game. So definitely seeming like maybe the wall kind of finding their footing a little bit, maybe getting the better just in terms of DM in these teams fight. But, the Black Swan, no slouches by any measure, just kind of letting a few things go loose in some of these fights.
Yeah, same mid as usual. I'm looking at the med points is interesting, actually. Foxy has a lot more points than Hubert, which I think lends itself to Black Swan are playing just as a team better, but the individuals on the wall are making a lot better plays just to, salvage things. Trip is in deep, doesn't commit super hard. Quax does, however, takes down... Oh no, Trip takes down Sin Karma, actually. Quax does die, but you being down the demo as the wall, Saiga gets taken down as well. The cap does come in. Sandblast really wants to be aggressive. Just look at Soar. Soar's running behind. I don't think anyone knows. He's going to get Ether. Yeah, he will get Ether. Foxy needs to play next to Darty. They should just be able to take down Soar here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, really great
in.
play. Oh, Sin Karma hits one pipe and barely misses another, and that's enough, yeah, for Foxy to have to use there. I don't blame that one at all in comparison to the side one, because that pipe was super, super close to making it a drop. Really great play from Sin Karma there. Just going in, and now the Wall are going to have their own Uber to try and work in onto this point. They're making their way out through lobby. They find one on the tripwire trying to escape, and now can they find any more without having to use this Uber? They might be able to just get the point with it. No one in Black Swan really in position to try and block it now. They're coming in, but it's already too late. They're going to try and sack, get the force. They do get it. They find another onto Sai, and even more importantly, they keep Foxy alive. So now they're going to be the ones with Uber advantage.
Yeah, really well played by them. It was just a 3-man. It could have been a 4-man, but the one person lived. Really well played. This is the pretty default forward. Actually, we're the soldiers. This is not the default forward hold. I lied. They're kind of forward holding, but playing a little more passive than normal, expecting maybe Foxy to just pop out. They bomb through, no real damage to speak of yet, so they get it relatively for free. There's no one going behind. They're edging the point pretty well. Here come the soldiers. Double bomb out of Sai and Dingo on to Foxy. Foxy does get forced. They do lose 2. St. Karma's behind now.
I wonder if he's going to go for a... Oh, he is going to be trying to forward spawn trap. No one should know. Oh, this is going to be so unfortunate for Tripwire. Now going to spawn. Trip is dead. Sin Karma getting the spawn kill as everyone else on Black Swan is now immediately turning back to try and kill this Devilman. They have basically given up the point for the Wall as they go and try and chase down Sin Karma. They are going to be able to get that, so that is a dead Devil and a dead Sai. And that's going to be long respawns because the Wall now do have control of the point. Exile does go down, but Darty is now in the position to be the one flanking from behind.
Yeah, this could be big by Darty. I think they know he's there. It looked like Soar kind of was looking behind. I'm not sure if he is, though. But he can't... There's not a lot you can do on Scout like you did on Demo there. He can come in for this fight. Actually, as Sandblast, yeah, Quacks destroys Sandblast. They're getting through. The Uber trade is coming out. Darty is fighting Sai behind, so now they know about Darty. Quacks goes in, might get cleaned up. Oh, they're all getting crunched. Quacks dies. Hubert's going to get cleaned up. Soar might get cleaned up as well. But the players on the point are dying as well. So now it's just Sin Karma and Dingo trying to salvage onto Foxy. Not going to happen. Soldier's in. Sin Karma's behind again.
Oh.
It's cleaned up.
Okay. That was a really, really close. Foxy's super weak there, but really great stuff from everyone on Black Swan to be able to defend and make sure no one was able to take down their medic, or really anyone there, because that would just bled more time off the clock in the favor of the Wall as they are in the lead right now, only a minute 13. Black Swan not too far behind at a minute 30, so almost about even right here, and it might even up when the Wall get their own Uber, but they're trying to do something before anyone does, and they're getting most because of it, all trying to go through this one doorway, all falling one by one by one. Dingo is going to be traded out for Quack, so they do get one. They find another onto Ether, so these doorways have a lot less spam headed their way. Sai jumping onto the point to make a bit of space. Sandblast takes a rocket to the face. Sai is super weak as well. Needs to catch an arrow to stay alive. Should be able to do so. Runs out to safety, but that does buy space now with all the respawners from the Wall coming in. They're going to be able to get that point.
Yeah, this is a disaster. Exile dies and they lose the point. They're not going to be out on Hubert at all, and they have Uber coming in. Trip dies, so Hubert probably isn't even going to have to use. They didn't get the point. This is a disaster for Black Swan.
Is a disaster. Now they're the ones who are getting spawn, well, not spawn camp, they're getting forward holded. Luckily, Sin Karma doesn't have traps on their spawn this time, but they're going to be able to rotate out towards the right side, get a few soldiers out, and be able to break that forward hold and take down Sin Karma, and now there's going to be so much less spam and just damage headed their way. They're going to be able to walk forward so much more freely, but they do have to worry about the Uber coming in, trying to chase in onto Foxy. Sandblast on the chase, going so deep for this one, is going to be able to get the shots, and that is basically going to be a wipe unless Darty can try and do something. Quacks not in any position to try and clean up on any of that damage, and that is going to be essentially a full wipe for Black Swan.
It's a full wipe. The saving grace is that Hubert did use, so there's not going to be an Uber fight. There's not going to be an Uber for this fight, but they are forward holding. Trip kind of just bombs behind. Great damage onto the med, actually. They do take down Hubert. They need cap time, though. Foxy is cleaned up. They have no one on the point. They need to get to the point. They finally do. This is going to be pure DM. No team has heals. It's just Dingo behind. They know where he is. He is going to clean up Exile. They know what healthy is. Okay, there he goes.
Okay, that was a that could have gone very, very wrong for Black Swan, but like you said, they were able to make sure that they still understood the assignment. I got some point time just at the nick of time and are able to capture it up. But the thing is, the wall, they are in overtime, so one more capture for them and they have won it, so they cannot let them get onto this point at all. Nice rockets coming out, taking down Tripwise. Sandblast on top of the point, doing a lot of damage. Darty and Exo, they find 2 of their own, so it is going to be even players on the field, but that is just going to favor the wall. They have the faster respawners and they're just doing more damage. It's only Foxy and Quacks not going to be able to win that 2v4, and that is going to be the 3rd round in the favor of the wall.
Yeah, it's just, it really feels a lot like the Sandblast show right now. Like, Sandblast is just taking a lot of aggression, just denying the other team's combo and cleaning up a lot of players that I would honestly be scared to chase. So he's putting in a lot of work. His team is supporting him, but Sandblast is playing really well, and his team is just kind of following along, doing exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, the Ubers so far from the wall have been a little bit better. They've been able to use in kind of more optimal scenarios. There's been a few times where Black Swan have just had some unfortunate Uber. Sandblast, once again, very aggressive across the point. Takes a bit of damage, is going to have to back up as Tripwire a little bit aggressive over in the house, but flank Quacks and Darty on that left side house, maybe trying to push it a little bit as the wall try and get onto the point. No one has too much presence over the point. As I say that, the wall getting on top of it a little bit. They have a lot of cap time, actually, so just trying to eke it out. We've seen a few times where, you know, this first cap up can go without anyone having to die, and actually the Uber's going to be used from both teams. Sandblast goes in super deep, takes down Quack, but Sin Karma also dies onto the point, as now we have a little bit of scrap over in the right house. It's going to be side traded out. Darty, good one to get that kill, and it is going to be player advantage for Black Swan, but the wall have so much point presence right now. Someone, Dingo, tried to get onto Foxy. Nice serve from her to stay alive there, and with Tripwire taking down Soar, that should be Black Swan being able to immediately recapture up this point.
Yeah, okay. So I hadn't watched Sandblast on into these mids yet. This man plays like a madman. He's so aggressive, just 185 the entire time, pressuring incredibly hard. As I say that, this fight on the lower left is happening. They are going to lose Dingo. Sandblast is actually a little caught off. Quacks gets Hubert, and Sandblast is dead. Now all of a sudden, they're 3 players up. 2 of them are hurt. Soar's going to try. No, they know where he is. Not really anything can happen. Really good play out of Quacks.
Yeah, really, really great play, and that's exactly what they needed, because now they're going to be able to solidify their defense of this point. They also have Uber as well, so at a moment's notice, they can just let it rip and try and get onto Hubert if they think they have any opportunity of doing so. But Sandblast, seems like everyone on the wall wants to try and push this house. They do find one for their trouble. Sandblast managing to stay alive. Same cannot be said for Dingo, who did fall there, so it is an even trade, favoring the wall a little bit more, because they do have the quicker respawns for the moment, but it seems like they want to just try and pressure here now. Yeah, bomb coming in, and it's actually going to be the Uber coming out from Black Swan. They do find 1, they find 2, they find 3. So many dying on the wall, all going down. Crucially, though, Hubert was able to stay alive there, so they do get the force out, and now they're going to be able to build up their Uber and come back in with it.
Yeah, that pick on Dingo is going to get him a few more seconds, but yeah, you're exactly right. They should just be able to bust out. Are they forward holding? Not, they're kind of. This is a weird forward. There's not really any sticks, so yeah, they're just going to need to back up. Hope that they can get Hubert to use. Again, here comes the double. Great double bomb out of the soldiers. They both get nuked. They weren't able to cover enough ground in time. Dingo goes in, kind of behind, and after bombed in, tried to get a force, no damage. They're just going to need to back up, and they lose the point without getting the force. Not ideal.
Not ideal at all. Darty trying to make one last-ditch attempt at getting that pick onto Hubert, but Hubert going to be able to survive throughout all of that, and now they're going to be the ones in a little bit more of a standard forward hold, but no one really kind of committing to it. Like you said, they've been a little bit passive with it, but they do have now stickies over on the left side. They got both their soldiers over on the right just to try and stuff that very narrow choke point. So they just come through. They actually do use the Uber. They might find one on the side, but he's been able to get throughout this, unspotted, and now the wall can be able to immediately come back in with their own.
Hubert doesn't want to use. You don't want to use if you're Hubert. You know these players are going to be desperate, all going in. No one gets anything. There's the force out of Hubert, so that's fine. They're going to wipe for it. That's fine. Yeah, great play out of Hubert to stay alive for that long. You know, he was going to have to use eventually. That was the perfect time to use. Yeah, I don't agree with going through this area where they are forward holding, this top left or top right, I guess, depending on your perspective. It's hard to get through when there's two soldiers there. Your better bet is to kind of just go through the right side and clear the sticks slowly because it forces the other team to rotate. But regardless, even Ubers, they are now getting out through this lower area. Dingo behind, fighting Darty, and Sandblast is shoving as well. So now there's two behind, and they have to go back and take them out. Quacks and Dingo do trade. Exile is fighting Sandblast behind.
Oh, Sai finds that kill and kind of accidentally trying to rocket jump away. Really great stuff there. And that just buys up more time off the clock for the wall. They've equalized it. What was a very good advantage for Black Swan has now dwindled. They're even on time, and actually the wall in the kind of a driver's seat now with only a minute left for them. So it's going to be kind of do or die for Black Swan. They have to get onto this point. They have to try and get some time ticking down their favor. But now the Uber is going to be coming out from both teams. It is going to be an exchange. A lot of flashing for both of these teams on the point. Maybe looking a little bit better for the wall as Sambless immediately gets taken down. Quacks in the back lines is going to be able to trade out with Sai. The picks going in the favor of Black Swan. They have the space. They have the kills. And they should be able to get onto this point. But again, both medics staying alive. It is, again, still going to be even Ubers. So they are not out of the woodworks at all. A little bit of time to try and drain some time off the clock, though.
Oh, Trip's dead. Oh, no, never mind.
Oh.
Okay. Good job keeping Trip alive. They do need to go up this right side. Exile just gets melted, and this is going to get really bad really quick unless the Black Swan can reestablish their footing. They take down Sandblast. That's a big. Quack's great damage on his Incarm, and he's going to live. So all of a sudden, this is a 5v5 where it actually does favor Black Swan just a little bit. They want to pressure from the house. They all jump forward. Ether could do a lot here. Good damage on this Incarm, but they are going to take the point. Source dead as well. Get forward. In. You know Huber doesn't have. Huber does not have. So close. He gets it.
Huber just barely being able to stay alive there, and that might be the difference maker in this round. Is they're going to be able to capture it up, but it's going to be a much faster respawners. 12 seconds for Darty and Quacks, and everyone else on the wall are immediately already respawning, so they're going to have to try and defend against this at player disadvantage and also at huge Uber disadvantage. Hubert has the Uber, so they're going to have to try and force this out and then play this perfectly if you are Black Swan and you want to try and win this game, because if they lose this, it is game over for them. The wall just need to capture up this point, hold it for 20 seconds, which they already have, and now they're going to be using this Uber in. We've seen these aggressive Ubers from Sandblast pay dividends. Is it going to be paying more dividends tonight? Darty and Ether both going to be going down. Player advantage for the wall to just kind of stuff them in this little corner, and now the flank coming in from Sandblast once again, finding the shots onto Foxy. And can anyone from the Black Swan try and do anything? I don't think so. And that is going to be the wall taking it 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of exactly what we were predicting, right? Like the DM and player aggression out of the wall kind of took them forward. I mean, granted, they had a lot of good ideas as a team, but it just seemed like a lot of the fights they won were just these chaotic fights off of the back of an aggressive Sandblast Uber.
Yeah, and kind of speaking of that, Sandblast had a really good game. If you hadn't already guessed, 38-18. Going wild out there, hitting some shots, doing some damage, 361. But Exile also, it should be said, had a very good game, 31-19, 372. So, the pocket scouts for both teams kind of doing their job, probably shooting those bombing soldiers and everyone else that was trying to get on to Hubert and Foxy. And I will say, props to Foxy and Exile where it's due, equal in medic depths with Hubert, which is sometimes when you have games where you look at the scoreline 4-1, I'm like, all right, the wall, they won pretty decisively. It was very back and forth, but the fact that Foxy was able to kind of keep pace with Hubert throughout all of that, even losing 3 more rounds than the wall did, is pretty impressive.
And just looking at the stats, I mean, obviously Sandblast having 7 more kills than anyone in the server is a big part of it. Exile was keeping pace with him as far as DPM, but the kills just weren't there. Speaking of DPM, that is the thing that kind of sticks out the most to me. If you look at damage overall, the kills are about the same, with the exception, Sandblast getting a few more. Kills are actually even across the board as far as team. It's damage, though. It's 4,000 more damage. 5,000, actually, 4,500. coming out of the wall, and that just a lot of these fights, it seemed like players on Black Swan were a little bit more hurt than their counterparts, or there was just the crit heals just weren't there. So that poking and prodding, that aggression and that damage coming out, I think was really the big difference maker.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. It is kind of crazy. You just look at it, and it seems like everyone almost got the exact same, like you said, in terms of kills, but just a lot better damage from the wall against Black Swan. But for the wall, that just continues what's been a pretty good season for them, all things considered. I think that makes them 8-1 now as we kind of head into the final few weeks of the regular season. For Black Swan, makes them 6-4. And, you know, this doesn't kill their playoffs hopes at all. They still got a very good shot at getting into playoffs. It does make it a little bit more dicey because if Global Clan are the team to get an upset win, you know, against Black Swan, against Vachuds, against the wall, then they might be able to put themselves into a position to knock out Black Swan. So kind of a little bit tense between that 4th and 5th seed as we head into the final matches of the regular season before playoffs. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see that. But yeah, also for the wall, we haven't really spoken about their journey and invite so far. But for a team that was momentarily dead, you know, allegedly, I don't know how real that was, but for a team that was allegedly momentarily dead, they pulled out a really great showing tonight.
Yeah, it seems like they're pretty comfortably going to be that, not super comfortably, but they're going to be that second team in invite. They do have one more match against Froyo, but looking at rounds one is the big thing, obviously, besides, you know, head-to-head. So if they do end up beating Froyo, the rounds one is going to be the big part of it, because Froyo has 35 rounds one, the wall's at 20. So, you know, I don't know if they'll be able to get first, at least in the playoff rankings. But, you know, maybe they can pull something off.
Yeah, maybe they might be able to pull off an upset, but we are going to be able to show you that in the rest of this season 16, the regular season, and the playoffs. We are going to be going live tomorrow night with another match. I believe it is going to be Froyo versus the wall. Actually, we were just talking about it. So if the wall are going to be able to get that upset, they're going to have to do it tomorrow night. No clue what the map is going to be, but it hopefully should be a banger, whatever map it's on. So check out and tune in for that one tomorrow night. Also, check out the merchandise that we got. We got some new ones, and we've got some returning oldies as well. If you see anything you like, buy it, because it might not be there in a couple of weeks. These things are seasonal, so RGL are going to swap it out probably around when the season ends. So definitely get it now if it at all interests you. I've made that mistake before, and it's not fun to realize that shirt that you were eyeing up is no longer on the market. So check that out. And then aside from that, Uni, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Shout-outs to Black Swan. They played really well. It didn't fall in their favor, but I wouldn't hang my head too hard on this. It was a very close game overall. It definitely could have gone the other way, and I think there's better days ahead for them. Also, shout out to the wall, like you said, coming back from being possibly dead again. Not sure if that was real or not, but coming back from being dead, comfortable second place, maybe even, you know, being able to take first place this season.
Yeah, I would have to mirror both of those shout-outs. Shout-outs to the players for playing. Shout-outs to all y'all for watching. Shout-outs to you, Uni. Being able to cast with you again has been a delight. Shout-outs to Dolphin as well for being a beast on production. And I think that's going to be it for us here tonight. It was Black Swan versus the wall winning it 4-1 over on Koth Bagel. Tomorrow night, we will have the wall versus Froyotech, our first and second seed, duking it out. Let's see if maybe the second seed can get an upset win, or will Froyotech be undefeated in the regular season? We'll have to see, but until then, hope you have a great night. See ya.